For anyone looking to buy a used car, the chip shortage along with demand for used cars have skyrocketed prices as inventory has dropped. Local dealerships say prices are up 20%.
Okay, let's talk about car prices right now because we know they're still pretty high, especially with the interest rates as high as they are. And if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, it may be out of reach.
The U.S. car market is breaking, quietly, sharply, and in plain sight. Dealership lots are overflowing. Factories are cutting shifts. Buyers are stuck in loans they can't escape. You've heard prices are stabilizing, but that's not the whole picture. This isn't a dip. It's the slow collapse of a system millions rely on. Why are trucks that used to sell in hours now sitting for 6 months? Why are car payments higher than rent? And how are electric vehicles, once the future, now sinking entire companies? This collapse isn't coming. It's already here. Overflow lots, empty showrooms. What used to be the busiest place in town, a dealership, now feels abandoned. Trucks like the Ford F-150 and Toyota Tundra sit unsold for over 200 days. That's not just a slowdown, it's a crisis. Dealers are running out of space. They're renting parking lots, airport runways, even paving empty land to store unsold inventory. Vehicles are parked so tightly that test drives are a hassle. Shiny new trucks have become unpaid inventory and mounting debt. Customers notice. They see the same trucks in the same spots week after week. The illusion of scarcity is gone. The silence isn't calm, it's a warning. When the middle class got priced out. Not long ago, owning a reliable truck was part of the middle class dream. Today, that dream is fading fast. Since 2019, vehicle prices are up over 40%. A Tundra Platinum now costs up to $75,000. That's not just inflation, it's exclusion. Wages haven't kept up. For families or small businesses, the math no longer works. Trucks once seen as practical now carry luxury-level price tags. Even with deals and discounts, buyers are walking away. Automakers blame tech upgrades and safety features, but customers aren't buying it. These trucks were once tools for everyday Americans. Now they're sitting on lots, priced like status symbols. The trap of negative equity. But this isn't just about price. It's about debt. Millions are stuck with negative equity, owing more on their vehicle than it's worth. During the boom, buyers were lured with low rates and long loan terms. Now that values have dropped, many are underwater by $7,000 or more. To trade in, buyers have to roll that debt into a new loan, pushing payments even higher. Each trade-in digs the hole deeper. Even middle-class and first-time buyers are being pulled into this debt spiral. Most don't realize it until it's too late. They thought trading in would wipe the slate clean. Instead, they're trapped. A crisis on wheels. Owning a reliable car is becoming out of reach for millions of Americans. This isn't just a budgeting problem, it's a full-blown affordability crisis. Repossessions are surging. Repossessions are quietly sweeping across the country. No warning, no alert, just the sound of your car being hauled away in the middle of the night. And it's not just reckless borrowers, it's working families, first-time buyers, and retirees. In the last year alone, auto repossessions jumped 23% nationwide. Each one is a story. A single mom who can't get to work, a family that stretched too far, a retiree living on fixed income. Repossession doesn't just take a vehicle. It cuts people off from jobs, schools, and basic necessities. One missed payment often starts a chain reaction. Damaged credit, job loss, no way to recover. These outcomes were avoidable if car prices were lower, wages higher, or lending fairer. But that's not today's reality. The hidden threat: insurance premiums. Even those keeping up with their payments face another blow: skyrocketing insurance premiums. Rates are jumping 50 to 60% in many states, not because of more accidents, but because of higher vehicle prices, expensive repairs, and rising replacement costs. For many, insurance has become a second car payment. Families are being forced to pay hundreds more a year just to stay insured, and since coverage is required by law, there's no skipping it. Some downgrade to bare minimum plans, exposing themselves to massive risk. Even used vehicles aren't a safe haven anymore. Many drivers now pay more to insure a used car than they once did for a new one. The numbers no longer add up, and many are being pushed out of the market entirely. Car ownership in 2025 isn't about convenience anymore, it's about survival. Nissan's 9,000 job cuts, a warning sign. When Nissan announced 9,000 global layoffs, it wasn't just trimming fat, it was waving a red flag. Behind the scenes, slowing sales, growing inventory, and too many factories running on outdated assumptions. Years of aggressive production finally caught up. Buyers couldn't keep up with rising prices and long-term loan burdens. Plants across Japan, the US, and Europe began scaling back or shutting down. Nissan isn't alone. GM has quietly cut shifts in Michigan and Ohio. Even Toyota is dialing back production. The industry has shifted from chasing growth to bracing for survival. The root problem? Overproduction. For years, automakers believed demand would always rise to meet supply. After COVID and the chip shortage, they ramped up output, only to find buyers unable or unwilling to take on the cost. Now the industry is drowning in unsold vehicles. And consumers? They're paying the price again. The EV trap. EVs were billed as the future. Automakers bet billions on electrification, expecting customers to follow. But they didn't. The vehicles were too expensive, the infrastructure too weak, and the market not ready. Ford's F-150 Lightning started near $55,000, with top trims hitting $95,000. The Hummer EV crossed six figures. Even with rebates, most Americans couldn't justify the price. Inflation, high interest rates, and insurance costs left buyers cutting back, not upgrading. Charging infrastructure lagged, range anxiety persisted, and traditional gas vehicles remained cheaper and more practical. So EVs sat unsold, R&D costs ballooned, and factories scaled back before ever hitting stride. The gamble backfired. Automakers didn't just misread the market, they lost touch with it. Wholesale collapse. Dealers used to rely on wholesale auctions as a fallback. But in early 2025, that safety net collapsed. Wholesale prices dropped 18% in 3 months. Cars once worth thousands more sold below cost. Inventory flooded the system. Demand dried up. With every auctioned unit, dealers lost money. Financing costs rose. Local pricing destabilized. Smaller dealerships began downsizing or shutting down. Floor plan lenders tightened credit. The exit route was gone. Communities in crisis. As dealers faltered, so did workers. Thousands were laid off. Nissan cut over 9,000 jobs globally. Other automakers followed suit. This wasn't just corporate trimming, it hit working-class towns hard. Entire families dependent on auto industry paychecks were left without jobs or clear futures. Schools lost funding. Local businesses lost customers. Older workers faced limited options. The impact rippled through communities. Towns that once thrived now faced decline. Flint, Toledo, Janesville, places built on auto manufacturing, entered survival mode. Empty lots, shuttered shops, and stagnant housing markets became the new reality. Identity on 4 wheels. Owning a car used to symbolize freedom. Now it represents stress. Aging vehicles, high interest loans, and rising insurance costs have trapped many Americans. Negative equity is common. Car payments feel like burdens, not milestones. Even those wanting to upgrade or go electric often can't. They're stuck with what they have, and what they can barely afford to maintain. The emotional toll is growing. What once felt empowering now feels defeating. For many, the dream of mobility is fading. For younger generations, car ownership is no longer a goal, it's a liability. A stalled green revolution. EVs were supposed to lead the way forward. But affordability killed momentum. High sticker prices, limited infrastructure, and economic pressure held back adoption. Even with government incentives, most families can't make the math work. As a result, Older, less efficient gas cars stay on the road longer. EVs sit unsold. Charging networks remain underbuilt. Climate goals stall. It's a cycle. No buyers, no infrastructure. No infrastructure, no buyers. The revolution sits parked, blocked by one unmovable barrier: cost. Conclusion. What started as overproduction became a full-blown crisis. Auto dealers, workers, and towns are all caught in the fallout. The EV shift, once a promise of progress, now feels like another weight. And at the heart of it, Americans are rethinking what it means to own a car, if it's even worth it at all. This was just the beginning. Hit that subscribe button and buckle up. Digital Garage has so much more in store.